Hello everybody, welcome back, whenever, wherever. So, again, now part 4 and 5 of the active planetary cycles. I think it's very important to explain something about those cycles, yeah. They start with a certain theme, and that theme evolves, right? It goes like the seasons in a year, yeah. We start, and then we come to harvest, we come to winter, etc., until it starts again, right? Like many of us, let's say in for Sylvester, New Year's Eve, we are having some ideas of where we want to go in the new year. We make plans, right? So that would be like one of the part of the cycles, yeah, where we make plans, have ideas for how to go on, how to evolve from where we stand, from what we have, let's say, realized from the past year, yeah. So these are, it's just a little bit an explanation, and important is when we start a new cycle around that time, it's before and then after, yeah, like a new moon, right? So it's before we have this balsamic time where we kind of, okay, this was that, and so now I would like to go more in that direction. We may have ideas for the future and things like that, you know. But then when we are actually past the new moon phase, we have that in mind, but we may not exactly know how to go on with that. And so we may see, okay, it may go in that direction, but it's not, it's a little bit, it's too new. We may not even exactly see, yeah. Like when I like to whatever seeds, yeah, that I have from fruits and vegetables, I sometimes throw them in the garden, and then something comes up. I have no clue yet what it is, so I have to wait. So that's kind of the energy of a new cycle, yeah. So, and then it moves into more creative phase when we know more about it, and then okay, we go forwards, and we have active creative times, yeah. Whereas on the other side, we are finalizing, we are wrapping up, we see, we harvest, we see what is there, and then like, okay, we have to deal with it, yeah. We have to, what do I keep, and what do I do with this, what do I do with that, and kind of sort through. And after that, we kind of have ideas already. We see, okay, this is not working, or this is not really what I want for the next year or for the next cycle. So it's really, it is this ending, this discerning and digesting time. Okay, so now, yeah, as you can hear, it may get a little bit longer, so I will do my best. Now to the presentation. So the two cycles I would like to discuss is Pluto and Sedna, and Neptune and Aries. A little reminder, Pluto, the underworld, or maybe outer world, or maybe we can use Doctor Who's TARDIS. It is bigger in the inside than in the outside. So he talks a bit about transformation, about the death and rebirth. So more about this balsamic times, yeah, just to compare it a little bit. So we have to make space for something new, and we have to let go of things or see them in a different light, from a different perspective. And because most of these things for us at this time are kind of hidden and deep within, is kind of powerful, yeah. He was discovered in 1930. Sedna, her orbit is so far outside and often so far away, it wasn't possible with our technology to actually discover her before. And she was then discovered in 2003. And she talks about themes like self-betrayal, the things that we have suppressed or blocking us from fully emerging into self, to know exactly what there is, including the shadows. And integrated feminine powers, which means the limitless possibilities as well, the unknown. It's like what is its name? The never-ending story. You need to have the fantasy, the ideas, the imagination. Yeah, so, and that is kind of limitless possibilities, and those give us a bigger perspective. Yeah, they open the door, if you want, to possibilities, to receptivity. Neptune, yeah, he is said to represent the veils. And yeah, he is kind of nebulous. It's sometimes difficult to catch what it really is. So, but he talks more about the spiritual realms and the mystical, the dreamlike worlds or places. But he is, most of all, he is about the clarity, the crystal clear water, not the shady one. He is more, or he can bring that clarity. He was discovered in 1846, and that's kind of important. You will hear in a few minutes. It's also, let's say, the fundamental structures. Many scientists have discussed what ether is, and whatever it really is. Some came up with the idea that it could have something to do with the space-time fabric. So, but however, it's fundamental. It's one of the main energies, if you want. We have Eris. usually called the disruptor and goddess of strife. But you see, all those disruptions and problems and traumas and things, catastrophic events, etc., they are there to open our eyes, to see the reality of things more clear, and not to be afraid of it. Because behind everything there may be also some type of benevolence. We just only need to see it. And the rest we can put somewhere else. Pluto and Sedna, they meet at the later part of Aquarius, yeah? So it's under the circle, a place where we have talked about a lot, because it's nearly all the time occupied, and that's the same here. The two cusps between Aquarius and Pisces and Aries, there is quite a lot going on. Yeah, I'm not surprised about that, but it's interesting to see. So the two are not alone. They are accompanied by Ixion, the lust for life. It's a force, and how we use that. It can be overpowering, it can be sharing, but it's the realization that when we use this power, when we give out, it's too late then. Sometimes, people, or also me, we do things and then out of, whatever feeling, and suddenly we are sorry after. And somehow some damage is already done. So, to be aware of that. It's a good force, right? I mean, when we from an open heart, just really from our inside, what we are passionate about, what we really want to bring out, not to gain something or to hurt somebody or so, but just because we want to share it. That will only be benevolent, and that's what is needed. So you can see there is also again some axis on the other side. Here we have Leo Virgo, and we have on this side we have Cancer Leo, and over here we have Virgo Libra, but all of it here is constellation Virgo. Yeah, don't forget that. So we have this axis, yeah, as so often, Aquarius Leo, or the other way around. And we have here in T-square, you can see this red kind of triangle, yeah, that's called the T-square. And so we have Neptune here. Neptune, he stands in Ophiuchus up here, which is a constellation which also crosses the ecliptic just above the sting of Scorpio. Yeah. Now you can see this one here on the cusp to Sagittarius, and over the sting, that is the galactic center. Also, I don't remember where and from whom, but I've read that the Asians, they were also talking about not the sting of the scorpion, but that it is like the flow of manna coming out of the galactic center. So maybe that helps those who only see something not so nice behind Scorpio. So we have the themes of transformation from inside out, a rebirth of the feminine principles, those limitless ideas and possibilities, and how we direct that life force. But we also have the theme of self-mastery. That also means that we have to face our fears, we have to face that which we may think isn't so nice. And maybe transform it in the way that we bring it into consciousness, and from there, when we once know about it, we fear it less and we can control it in some ways. We can see where does it come from, what does it does, and is it so or not, and all these kind of things, yeah, whatever theme that may be for somebody personally. And with that, we kind of make space, yeah, for other experiences, for to also see what good we have and how we can actually transform that which we think is bad into something that may have a purpose, and for that have a certain amount of benevolence, because it's like the yes and no, yeah. The no has also value in the meaning that it shows us what we don't want, yeah, or what we refuse. So that's a power too, and we have to be really aware of that. So because otherwise that power controls us instead of the other way around, and that's self-mastery. So that is the path we have to take, the self-mastery, being aware, and also being aware of the spiritual realms, of the non-seen, that which people may call the higher, and some of it is just within us. And this, let's say, realization, it transforms one, it brings other attributes or other form of how we share, how we relate to other people, how we it changes everything, if you will. So then we have Neptune and Aries. You could see, yeah, Neptune is, again, he is always involved, yeah, and here also our cuspal area is involved, right, and here as well. But this time our conjunction does not take place back here, but also in Aquarius in the earlier parts. And you see, this conjunction took place in 1848, so just 34 years after Pluto and Sedna, but also just 2 years after Neptune was actually discovered. And the other 3 planets here involved in the conjunctions, they were not discovered until 1930 and the 2000s, right? So it's interesting how this unfolds. I think because the consciousness and the abilities were just not there yet to be able to discover them. But that's not only in a physical sense, in a material world sense, but also in the state of consciousness, which then started to develop and accelerate enormously. So, as I also said, Neptune's perihelion and aphelion axis does change a lot, yeah, much more than any other planet. And so in this time, in 1848, it was at around 2 degrees towards Scorpio. So here, around here, yeah. So that means that is the place where he is most active and where he brings intention in, yeah, the intention and the let's say what we see in this intention, the manifestation of it, whereas the nodal axis is more like the path of how that is brought forth, in which way, if you want. So and he was conjunct here the star Anka, and Eris, she was pretty south of the ecliptic between the constellation Crux and Phoenix, and she was in a place where it seems to be not really much around there. It looks quite a dark place, if you want, at least from what we can perceive with our eyes, right? So, but that is maybe also no coincidence, because she wants to teach us something about reality, and she was not in our awareness net. So even so, we would have had the possibilities, the eyes to see her and the surrounding, we probably would have not known what to do. So she came out a little bit out of the dark, if you want. We also have a funny thing here with Sedna. She's over here, also under the circlet, but on the Pisces side, and that's actually near the vernal point from now, the South Galactic Pole, and also Haumea's perihelion of that time, yeah, right on the cusp. She was herself, yeah. So here, Sedna on her perihelion, and she herself approaching her aphelion, but it's here also same time that there is Sedna's North Node. And as you can see, they will meet pretty soon after that. So it's just interesting when you think also how Mea, she is more about like a midwife energy, yeah? It's kind of birthing something, right? And Sedna is right there. And here is Saturn, so the structures that have to go along, yeah? So it's pretty interesting, that whole chart, yeah. So Aquarius Leo again, and here in that particular part of Aquarius, we it's more about sharing, yeah, and that in the end will provide some flow. It's a very intellectual, intelligent area, and so, but for that we also need to have an open heart when we share, when we may talk about ideas, or if you are in a philosophical situation, discussion, and you are narrow-minded and close-hearted, there may be strife in the end, yeah, instead of creative kind of expanding energy, yeah, because even so, if you are not if you don't agree, you can still agree to disagree, right? And maybe whenever you say, maybe that idea wasn't so bad, but and so it can lead to something, even so you don't really agree, yeah. So this openness, this is needed, yeah, and to know that there is more out there. It's not only we people, the whole environment is here and it responds as well. We have the spiritual world and whatever there is out there, it's all there. And when we share, like questions, for example, we always have questions, yeah, because we want to create, and then so sometimes we need something, yeah, to create that. We need an answer, we have an idea, but how does that really go together? And so we have these questions, yeah, we put them out. Sometimes we even share them with other people, but it may be that we just send up a prayer. It can be that we I don't know, talk to the wall, or we write it down like in a journal, or we just really intensively think about it, and then we let go and we do something else, and then suddenly, boom, there it is, right? So this is in the spiritual, or the non-visible, yeah, elements that we need to include in a full kind of let's say approach to everything, yeah. If we exclude that all the time, then we are trapped in this, and we go in loops around, and we do the same again and again and again. And many people, they say, oh, when will we start to learn from history? Yeah, now we do. So, but it's also that other part of it, that the more you know, the more you know that you don't know. That's an interesting one too, and I find that most fascinating, because it's like really like the never-ending story, so you can go on and on, right? I mean, isn't that great? So, and but we also have this thing of when we have on the emotional level, if we have a problem and we talk about that to somebody, yeah, we really can say it's like shared emotions become half burdensome. But it's also when we share a joy, yeah, it can become multiplied, right? So that is the energy, or the task, or the theme of this cycle, yeah. Now when we look at how it developed and where we stand today, it's interesting. We can see how the energies have shifted, and how there was still a lot of in the beginning of their cycles, there was still a lot of war going on, and that did go on for a while more, right? So, but there was maybe other intent behind, and it started to, everything have shifted. Yeah, there was also, we had even so there was Napoleon, yeah, his regime and fall, but before that there was the French Revolution, right? So it has changed and shifted, and taking conclusions out of what had happened, right? And then going on. But interestingly, there was it started a lot with that industrial revolution, yeah, that other kind of thinking, that sharing, right? And then, okay, we have that in processes, and then okay, we can do more, and then yeah, so, and everybody can have work and so on. Yeah, we know it did not really come out that great, but anyhow, it was an idea, right? And it was trying something going on, right? And the same we see in the arts. Yeah, there were other writers with authors with totally different ideas, and coming out with that. And the same in music. It was out of that box that everybody was in before. Yeah, it was a step up. And the same we can see around the 1840s, yeah. And what I was really very astonished about when I put those things together, because I'm not a history genius, so that the Christmas cards were invented in that time, and the first was sent in the 1840s. And I thought, wow, I was sure if somebody would have asked me to guess, I thought that must have been much earlier. So anyhow, but there was also then photography and the telegraph. So we have all themes with sharing, right? That comes more and more in, and also discoveries. Yeah, I mean, they found out about hypnotism. They found out about anesthetics. So they had the first surgeries in using anesthetics. But we also see here again the evolvement of in literature, in music. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's fun. Yeah, and also the saxophone. Yeah, it was patented in that time. So it's really, there was a lot going on in a new direction in that time. Yeah. Now, as I said in the beginning, we are in special times now. When we look at these cycles, I mentioned in some of my posts that also the Pluto Aries cycle is in the last square. Now Pluto and Sedna is coming into last trine, and Neptune and Eris into the last 30 degrees of the cycle. So it's all the wrapping up, all the finishing. It's all okay here with Pluto and Sedna. It's more about entering harvesting, that we see what we actually created since in that theme. Yeah. where we are there. And so it's still, it gives still room for direction, change of direction, yeah, or maybe giving a little bit another push and start, yeah, maybe not like this. Let's put that aside and see how we handle it, yeah. So it's more that we have this still this opportunity to correction, to change, yeah. Even so, we are not in the original phase of creating, but we still can change. So here we have the last 32 where we are in roughly now, but the exact 30 degree aspect we will reach on 3rd of December next year, 2022. So here we are really in the wrapping up and the seeding anew for the future. So be aware of that. Be aware that what we collectively, I mean, we all co-create, right? With everything that we do and think and share, everything what we do does have an impact, tiny bit, yeah? We are all, and me as well, we are just a little tiny bit of the whole humanity, right? But we do have an impact as that. And we count. We are all equally important from that perspective. And we all have abilities, we all have something to share, something that is benevolent. We all do. And don't forget what they say, yeah, that even the flight of one butterfly can change the world, and that it is what we do, right? And so with that, I would like to end this presentation. Wrap that up until the next part, and you will see me writing or talking about those more often in the future, because you see they are part of that whole shift we have gone through. And so we have the theme anyway of letting go of the old, because even so we have shifted already, and the old is still influencing us. But also with these cycles, we have to finalize, or are in the last parts, right? We have that finalizing and seeding anew within the very big one, which is helpful to find direction within that bigger one. I hope you know what I mean. And so the smaller ones that I usually write about with all my new beginnings, please look at them as parts within all this bigger perspective, because they do more in the everyday life. Even so the bigger ones, yeah, they are just the generations and generations that they are talk about. General direction for all of humanity. And we have changed, the energies have changed. It is totally different, and so we have to find our way within that. And so with the old one to end as well, and seeing where it brought us, can help to really get the new direction, yeah? And also, maybe for some of you interesting to know, it is the perceptional abilities of all of us are kind of changing. Yeah, you may suddenly see other things, and you may feel like huh? What was that? Is that, you know, just trust it. Trust it. You can reconfirm it, and maybe you have several things happening close to each other, or they are repeating, and maybe even other people may see it. So, or may tell you about similar happenings in their lives. So, uh, trust it, because the veils have thinned. So, I hope you will have a wonderful time. I wish you all the best, and I see you next time again. Right? Bye.